Now the second way to attach elastic is that channel that I showed you in the video above. What we're going to do first is create the channel here at the ironing board. And so I've got my fabric wrong side up and my seam gauge, which you get to kind of see in action. What we're going to do is 2 1/2-inch turns, because I'm using 3/8 inch elastic. Now if you are using a different width of elastic, you're going to need to just choose a channel width that is just slightly wider than your elastic. So if you're using 1/2-inch elastic, I would do a 5/8 inch channel. And if you are nervous about it fitting, like if you aren't super confident about an even stitch, then make it even greater, just so that you're comfortable and you get the hang of it. But the closer the fit for the channel in the elastic, the nicer it's going to look. So that is my first turn under, and it's a 1/2 inch everywhere. I checked as I went. So I'm going to turn it again and turn it up to the 1/2 inch point. You could do a little teeny bit more, not a full 1/8 inch more, but, and then just check it as I go down. And this is the same way you would do a hem. There we go. Give it a little steam, and now we can head over to the machine and we're going to stitch that channel down. So let's go over there. Now I know the width of my channel that I created is a 1/2 inch, and I can check that. And I also know that my elastic is 3/8 of an inch, so I know that it's going to fit. But I want to make sure that my stitch is down here so that the final width of the channel is still going to accommodate the elastic. Excuse me. So I'm going to make my needle go to the far left because I want to use my needle plate seam guide here to get the exact right width. Now I know that some of you have said that the numbers on your seam or your needle plate actually refer to the distance from the center needle position and out, and mine definitely measures from the far left position and out, so 5/8 of an inch from where the needle's on the left and over is 5/8 right there. So you can double check that. I know that I want my channel to be a 1/2 inch, so I'm gonna turn it this way. So I've got this part up, line it up with the 1/2 inch mark, which is actually just beyond the edge of my presser foot, and I know I'm gonna be safe. So I've got my stitch length set to 3 because it's not a construction stitch necessarily. When you do a hem, there's not going to be any tension on it. So 3 is fine. You don't need to do 2 1/2. Quick back stitch though, and then just kind of cruise through it. Make it nice and even. What you don't want is for your needle to fall off that fabric on the underside, because then you'll have to go back. So we can cross our fingers that the needle stayed where it needed to, which I think it did. Another back stitch and trim. And indeed it did. So I can double check my elastic is going to fit in that channel. And we'll go on to fitting it in there. So take your safety pin I said you needed and just kind of stick it on this one side of your elastic so that it can turn and kind of hold like that. It's kind of hard to see with that white behind. And we're ready to feed it through. We'll trim threads in just a second. So just kind of get it started with that bald end of the pin. Get your elastic in there, and once it's in, it'll slide through really nice and easily. Just got to get it started. Okay. So we're going to pull, pull, pull until the end of my elastic meets the end of my seam over here. There. And I want a little bit to hang out just for safety. Now we're going to change machine settings to a zigzag stitch. And I want my stitch length to be 1, and I want my stitch width to be, I think, 1 1/2 is what I said. So it's just going to be a teeny tiny zigzag stitch, almost like what would happen when you were doing a buttonhole. And drop my needle down. I'm going to go forward and then backward just to make it a good and secure, because there will be a lot of tension on this thread. Go all the way down to your stitch line, which we, I think, just hit. Okay, now back. Ooh. And trim. Ooh, and I think I just broke my thread. All right, pause. All right, back in business. I'm all set now. Okay, so my elastic is stitched really securely down in place. Sometimes I get it so close you can't even see it. Okay, we'll trim that also in a second. But you can feel my pin is in here still, and so my elastic only goes to here, and we need it to go all the way across. And yes, I have one pink fingernail. Hazel and I were doing our nails yesterday, and I didn't get very far. Okay, so just pull that needle and work it through. You can just kind of push fabric down until you find it, and pull. And just kind of keep shoving it down, work it until you get a little bit of elastic sticking out. Now take your pin out. You just don't want that to be involved in whatever's happening in your machine. But also don't lose your elastic now, because that's going to make you sad. And okay, so we're like this, you can see that. And now we're just going to do the same thing here. And like I said in that earlier video, this isn't normally how you do a channel, but this is how we're going to do it, just to show it in our books that we learned how to make a channel. And so normally you wouldn't actually fasten the elastic down on both ends, but this is what's going to work for us. And I think it's in. Now I can't emphasize enough the importance of trimming your threads. It's going to look prettier in your book. Let's get that yucky elastic out of the way. And yes, I'm going to make you watch me trim my threads. Whew. Okay, well, I'll do the other ones off camera. So there is our pretty, let me back up, little channeled elastic. So now you know both ways, or at least two of the ways, to install elastic into something. So if you don't want to use buttons or zippers or even snaps, like if you're making pajama pants, this would be your fastener.